because you need the ability to find yourself, know yourself. And frankly, I think that people should refrain from sex when they are in their healing journey and in their, like transformation of becoming and learning themselves.
Okay, hold on.
Right.
If they're young, what are they healing from if they're not out here having sex? I'm just so confused. What are
Their
they healing
There
from
parents.
at
are
20?
people
And I'm
who
Childhood,
hold on.
life.
Healing from what? What
there
they
are
Their
not
people
parents.
their
Childhood,
parents. There are
life.
Oh,
people who
that's
go through
Cap. That's
hell
Everybody's
Cap.
childhood
very
is
This,
different.
young.
Hold on, we
this.
can't hear all y'all at the same time. And of
There are
course,
people
Lady
who
O had to.
go through life very young. So as somebody who has been engaged multiple times, I'm 27 years old, so I'm very close to the age group that you guys are talking about. My perspective on this is like at this age, like even at 27, like did I want to be in a relationship that was long term, that was years on? Absolutely. Did I want to have like all of the qualities that a man has to mature to get to? Like at 20 and 22 and 23, absolutely. But I think that those things come with life experience too, and not everything can be taught in the household. And so I think that part of growing up is going to college, because that is a system that is set up not only to further your education, but to have that support and that transitional, dynamic, which is also a space where people often date. And so I think dating at that time is appropriate, but I also think that people date for different reasons. And so you date for what you're looking for. If you're looking for a hookup, if you're looking for something short term, that's what you're dating for. But there's also people who are dating for that, but then are just like deceitful and make it seem as though they're dating for something else, but they have no interest or no emotional capacity and maturity to be able to handle that. And so with all of that being said, like when people have the ability to develop autonomy and learn themselves, that's when they're able to develop the skills to like be able to get themselves ready to be in a marriage. Now, what skills do I think that parents should start working on and communities should start working on with young people? It's teaching things like communication, empathy, boundaries, because those are things that come with autonomy that keep relationships healthy. Now, do I think that that can accompany submission? Absolutely. And if we're really talking about submission and what it says in the Bible, it goes both ways. The husband submits to the wife too. And so I really think that, when we get down to it, like, yes, we have so much to learn at this age. Even at 27, my brain only just fully developed a year ago. Okay, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, and not only that, but women are emotionally and mentally and literally biologically more mature than men. And so it makes sense why we are looking for different things at different times, and why, some women often do date older. Some of the other things that I think that should be taught is like, that community, and like making sure that our young people are talking to elders who have been married for 50 years, and so that they can get that wisdom. Mentorship for people who are young, who are dating in this day and age, because I think there was a lot of perspective from, a time that is not current. And I respect that perspective. I respect it 100%. And I think that those values and those morals can still be instilled in our day and age. However, I think that it does look different. And so, um, having that access to role models, and also not like understanding that it's like marriage isn't a luxury. It's not like it's a partnership. It's the grime, the dirty, the ugly, the sick, the poor, but it's also all of the beautiful parts of it too. So like we can't act like marriage is just the glory parts, and like we're not mentally struggling, financially struggling, dealing with stuff in our personal lives with friends, and then also handling work and family and trying to figure out ourselves at that day and age too. At 23, 22, at the end of the age group that we're talking about, I had no idea who I was. I was so caught up in men that I lost myself, that I was so frustrated in the fact that I just wanted to have something for myself. I wanted to have some identity because I was constantly following a man because that's what I was supposed to do. Without that structure of, I still have, the ability to make decisions. I still have the ability to, lead myself while also, following a man's lead. There are a lot of women who are not taught these dynamics, even in healthy households. Okay, I'm a community health worker. I'm a social work student, and basically a community health worker is a social worker with a certification and not a degree. And so I work with females, pregnant women, moms, dads, parents with young children, old children, children with disabilities, who are dealing with real life, who are dealing with poverty, who are dealing with not knowing when their, lights are going to be able to get back on, whose their entire fridge of food just went bad. They've already taxed out the community organizations, and they literally have nothing, and they're married and they're still trying to figure it out, and she is following his lead, and there's people who are still dealing with life. And so that impacts marriage, and that impacts the dynamics. And so when we're not spiritually aligned, and we're not talking about long-term visions, we get lost in all of that.
So is that the thing that you want the parents to teach the boy? Is that what you're saying?
So in short, relationship skills, community support, understanding that it's not all pretty. Marriage is glorified on social media, and so when we look at marriage, we have a certain expectation of what it should be, right? And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was none of that. And so there weren't all of these other ideas that were projected into your ideology of what something should be. And we are influenced by that. And so there things like premarital counseling, that's not common in this day and age, but 40 years ago, you almost weren't married if you didn't go through that. So, it's a completely different day and age. Like I said, those values can still be instilled, but it's going to take community support and reinstilling those values, but also having patience with this generation and understanding that we're dealing with a lot more violence. We're dealing with a lot more poverty. We're dealing with a lot more injustice. We're dealing with a lot more trauma. We're dealing with a lot different social determinants of health that we didn't deal with or even recognize 20 years ago. Mental health wasn't a conversation 50 years ago the way that it is a conversation now.
And so we have to get other people. We got to get other people.
Okay. I haven't spoke in an hour, so frankly, I'm gonna get my entire thought out. And so when we think about what we're trying to achieve here and what we're trying to get to, at 22, at 18, at 19, yeah, we want to be in that. We want the glory, we want the cute, the wedding, and all the things, and all of the commitment that comes with it, and and building a family. But there are women out here who are trying to do it for themselves too, who want the ability to have that autonomy. And so we have to teach people how to be able to coexist. And so teaching all of the things that I've talked about,
all right, so
that's
Sierra,
what's important.
So Sierra, real quick, and I just need a really concise answer, right?
She didn't answer yet?
Communication, empathy, boundaries, accountability, all of these things are things that are not instilled enough into the generation of people that you've commented on. When we talk about the people who are in the clubs, we're not talking about all the girls who grew up with families.
Okay. So
we're talking about people who have been through trauma and who are trying to heal in unhealthy ways.
Sierra, So last question, and I gotta I'm gonna move on to Couture.
Hold on, she ain't get to talk. She ain't get to talk for a whole hour.
Shut up, Bruiser.
Let that woman talk, man.
All right. If all that was taught, what age do you think they should get married at? And I just need the age.
I think that 26 to like 29 is a better age to consider marriage in this day and age, because that is when you're able to experience like life a little bit and also mature more.
I mean, sex.
So even if
I agree with her.
So even if everything was, even if they were taught correctly, the men and women alike, to be prepared for marriage, you would still say that they would have to delay marriage for almost 10 years.
Should they delay sex though, Sierra?
I think depending on their upraising, that's going to be a personal choice. I don't think that everyone should. I don't think that everyone, I don't think that everyone's built with that capacity. I don't think everyone's built with those
just to be clear, you say delay marriage till 26, but not sex.
I mean, honestly, I think that that's up to the person. I don't care who anybody's sleeping with. That's not.
No, we're asking you, what if this was your world? What should they do? Because you said that they should delay marriage until 26 to 29. That was a should statement.
I think that people should have the autonomy to make their own decisions. And that is a part of why, I think that people should wait, because you need the ability to find yourself, know yourself. And frankly, I think that people should refrain from sex when they are in their healing journey and in their, transformation of becoming and learning themselves.
Okay, hold on. If they're young, what are they healing from if they're not out here having sex? I'm just so confused.
Healing
from what?
Their parents.
Childhood. Their parents. There are people who go through hell very young.
Hold on, we can't hear all y'all at the same time.
There are people who go through life very young. There are people who experience shootings, death. There are people who experience domestic violence. There are people who have no control over their environment. There are people who have no control over their environment until they're 18 years old. People go through hell. You can't
well, get there. It has nothing to do with being married, okay? But first of all,
it does.
No, it don't.
Your childhood experience transpires into your everyday life.
Okay, I accept that, okay, but I've been there before, okay, but I was saying this right here. You teach the person to get along with the opposite sex. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't teach your son or your daughter how to get along with the opposite people. You should not have all this disdain towards the opposite gender, hating men, hating women and stuff. That's for starters.
I never said anything.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general. I'm kind of answering the question. I'm not saying nothing about you at all.
Yeah, she answering the question.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Problem solving, okay. Communicate, learn how to communicate as a whole. When we don't have to, there's no certain communication style that a man have to do with a woman and vice. I mean, you just learn how to communicate, period. That's just the bottom line. Problem solving, team development, that matters a lot because you're working as a team when you're married. And for people who got married, this is the thing. When people say they want to know who's been married, they want to talk to people who's been married 50 years. Y'all don't really want to hear them stories. At the end of the day, those people they went through a lot of things that we went through. They just stayed married 50 freaking years, okay? So I don't know why there's some magic cookie cutter as if they're, oh my God, let me go talk to people that's been married 50 years, because what y'all hear when some of these stories, y'all don't want to stay anyway. So what difference does it make? Find someone that you want to be with. And as far as our sons, we teach our sons, number one, they need to see a good woman in their life. Just be honest with you, whether it's somebody, we got to show the men that is good women out there. We have got to be the type of woman that we want our sons to marry, okay? Because it ain't all about y'all ladies. At the end of the day, y'all got to meet the mamas, okay? So I'm just saying, the men that have got to see a female role model to want to be with a woman, Katira, that's fine. I see y'all batting your eyes. I know Bo, she do her thing, but I'm just saying, what do y'all want the men to teach? But all y'all want to do is pay bills. I mean, I'm just saying, what else? a good work
Because
ethic.
that's not what we saying. But that's not what we saying. That's why I'm laughing. Like it, of course, it takes two. Like we both have to get it together, the woman and man.
Right, but I'm saying, but all I heard
So that's
earlier
why
was
I'm
men gotta do.
laughing. Like it's,
But
but there's
hold on.
selective hearing
Oh,
though.
okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Good God. Okay. But that's all I heard tonight was men got to pay bills and lead and stuff, and women just sit there with their legs and mouth wide open. That's all I heard. But you know, I'm gonna digress from there. Shut up, Bo. That's exactly what y'all saying. But I'm saying, what do y'all really want the men to teach? For sure. I mean, to learn as a boy, just learn how to be a man. He got to learn how to be honest with you.
I feel like you heard
Mention
that, but we
no,
didn't say that.
you don't have to say it to be subliminal. But I will say this: you want to teach a man to have a good work ethic and really, follow his purpose. That's just the bottom line. What I can say, a man should 100% focus on his purpose. He should not be worrying about what he got to do to please this woman. He just should not. That just should not be his focus. His focus is being able to lead, provide, bring this table that you ladies want. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. Okay, y'all really want the game? Y'all want it. Y'all talk to a mother-in-law of 3. Yeah, boy, I'm gonna say it again. Okay, they focused on their purpose. They weren't worrying about y'all. Okay, because they knew at the end of the day, they knew that it wasn't gonna take much to get one. They married. They found their daughter. My daughter-in-law's young, and they married them. So I'm saying they still hold the key to marriage. So you could say everything you want, but if they're not choosing you, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, Lashia, you're married. But I'm just saying, for the most part,
Laisha.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna land. Let somebody else take the wheel. Okay, go ahead.
All right, Couture, can you go ahead and answer the question if you remember the question?
I don't really remember it, but I will say I